We only live once on this earth, Jay Gould. Every passing moment is no longer a meaningless unit of time, but becomes an irreplaceable part of our life's journey, like a drop of water falling into the ocean, vanishing yet also becoming part of the ocean itself. People often live as if they have countless chances, postponing dreams, avoiding genuine emotions, and settling for the familiar comfort zone. But when the idea of just once quietly seeps into our consciousness, it becomes a powerful awakening. It makes us realize that every choice carries weight and every wasted moment is permanent. There is no complete next time to fix everything, only now to live more fully. This awareness doesn't create pressure. Instead, it brings profound liberation. When we understand that life is not a draft, we allow ourselves to live more authentically, to love deeply, to fail spectacularly, and to step out of narrow molds. Like someone who knows the sunset will last only a few brief minutes, it is precisely that brevity that makes the sky burn brighter and more precious than ever. And then we ask ourselves, if this is the only time we have, who do we want to become? What do we want to leave behind in our own memories and in the hearts of others? It is in the journey of seeking those answers that humans don't merely exist, they truly live. We only live once is not a gloomy warning, but a radiant encouragement full of light. It urges us to live with awareness, with responsibility for every moment, and most importantly, to live in such a way that when we look back, we feel no regret, only a journey fully embraced, like a flame that burned completely before it faded. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes, but if you learn from those mistakes, you'll become a better person. Bill Clinton. Mistakes are the clearest sign that we have taken action, made choices, and truly lived. A life without mistakes is probably not a right life, but one that has never really begun. We often avoid mistakes because of the fear of judgment, of being hurt, or the lingering feeling of shame. But that very avoidance traps our minds in a loop of false safety. When we dare to look directly at our mistakes with calm observation instead of judgment, we begin to transform them. The mistake is no longer a crack, but a gap through which the light of awareness can shine. The process of learning from mistakes is like forging steel in fire. The heat of regret, the pressure of facing ourselves, and the repetition of deep reflection all merge to temper a stronger, deeper version of who we are. A mature person is not someone who never falls, but someone who knows how to stand up with a more insightful perspective, a more generous heart, and a wisdom that can distinguish what truly matters. Forgive yourself. When we accept that mistakes are an inevitable part of being human, we are no longer trapped in guilt, but move into a state of learning and growth. Like a painter, every wrong stroke does not destroy the painting, but adds depth and a unique character of its own. Living long is not the ultimate goal, but a precious opportunity to make mistakes, to understand, to correct, and to become a better version of ourselves. Each mistake then is no longer something to hide, but living proof that we dared to live, to experience, and to keep moving forward. Never let success make you arrogant, and never let failure discourage you. Beyoncé. Success, if not illuminated by clear awareness, can easily become a mental drug, inflating the ego and making us mistakenly believe we are the center of all value. In reality, it is only a fleeting moment of favor in the impermanent flow of life, like a ray of sunlight passing through a window, brilliant but belonging to no one. Failure, on the other hand, takes the form of thick darkness, easily causing the mind to shrink, doubt itself, and lose motivation. But if we look deeper, failure is not a denial of our worth, but a message yet to be decoded. It is like a heavy rain. It may soak and discomfort us, but it is also what nourishes the soil so that seeds can quietly sprout. People often identify themselves with outcomes. Success means I am good. Failure means I am inadequate. This very identification creates extreme emotional swings. When we learn to separate ourselves from the results and see success and failure merely as experiences rather than definitions of who we are, we gradually reach a state of inner stability. It is a place where the ego is neither inflated nor distorted, but becomes humble, flexible, and steadfast. This is not just moral advice, but a profound philosophy of inner balance. It encourages us to walk like a mindful observer, welcoming success with gratitude but without attachment, facing failure with courage but without surrender. Like a boat on the vast sea, neither letting the waves lift it too high in arrogance, nor allowing them to sink its will. When we maintain that state, we not only move forward, but also move deeper into ourselves, where growth becomes a lasting, quiet, yet solid quality. Life is not about milestones, but about moments. Rose Kennedy. We are often taught to aim for clear destinations, success, fame, milestones recognized by society. In that process, the mind unintentionally turns life into a dry, straight line. That is a dangerous illusion, believing happiness only exists ahead at some perfect future point. But when we reach the milestone, the feeling of satisfaction is fleeting and quickly replaced by a new goal. We live in a state of chasing the future, unknowingly missing the present, like someone obsessively searching for the horizon while forgetting to look at the sky right above. Moments are where life truly happens. They can be a glance, a burst of laughter, a quiet afternoon, or a nameless emotion. They are small, not recorded on any achievement chart, yet they quietly weave the deep feeling of being alive. Like tiny drops of water that go unnoticed, but together form the vast ocean of a person's emotions. When we shift our attention from milestones to moments, a subtle yet powerful transformation occurs. We no longer live to achieve, but begin to live to experience. Each day is no longer a stepping stone, but a complete part of the journey. We listen more, feel more deeply, and are fully present in every second instead of rushing through like a hurried guest. Return to the present, the only place where life truly exists. And when we learn to cherish even the simplest moments, we realize that life doesn't need to wait for grand milestones to become meaningful. Because it is precisely in those seemingly ordinary moments that we have been, and still are, living a full, authentic, and worthwhile life. Living may mean taking risks, but those risks are worth taking. Ann Womack. We need the courage to step out of our comfort zone. The comfort zone is like a warm cocoon. It protects us from harm, but also unknowingly imprisons our ability to grow. There, everything is so familiar that safety becomes a subtle form of stagnation, where we exist but do not truly live. Risk brings uncertainty, anxiety, and even fear. But those very emotions are signs that we are approaching something truly meaningful. Like someone standing at the edge of deep water, a racing heart is not a sign of weakness, but the body recognizing an important moment of transformation. A common mistake is equating risk with loss. In truth, risk is an emotional investment we trade certainty for the chance to experience, learn, and grow. This is not encouragement for blind recklessness, but a call for conscious courage. Knowing we may fail, yet still choosing to step forward. Knowing we may get hurt, yet still choosing to open our hearts. Like a mountain climber, not because the path is easy, but because the summit offers a different view of life itself. And when we look back, the moments that make us feel we have truly lived are not the safe days that passed quietly, but the times we dared to face risk and continued to move forward. Because in those moments of commitment, we don't just discover the world, we discover the hidden depths within ourselves. Nothing is perfect, there is only life. Milan Kundera. The desire for perfection makes us try to control everything, to avoid mistakes, avoid pain, and avoid feeling not good enough. But that very pursuit unintentionally turns life into a rigid design far removed from reality. Life does not operate according to the logic of perfection, but to the rhythm of change and imperfection. It is like a painting done by hand, where the uneven strokes and imperfect patches of color create depth and unique character. When facing imperfection, we often feel uneasy. A small error, a relationship that doesn't meet expectations, or ourselves not being good enough. But when we change our perspective, those flaws are no longer problems to fix, but natural and precious parts of the living experience. Let go of absolute control. When we accept that nothing is perfect, we also allow ourselves to make mistakes, to be vulnerable, and to change. And it is within that acceptance that a true freedom emerges, freedom from the pressure of becoming an ideal version, freedom to live fully with who we are right now. Life does not need to be perfect to be meaningful. It only needs to be lived authentically. The imperfect days, the mixed emotions, the slow steps all blend into a very human, very real flow. And when we stop chasing perfection, we begin to see the gentle beauty in incompleteness, where life is no longer a goal to conquer, but a vibrant and complete journey in its own way. What I want for you is that you continue to be yourself, and amaze this selfish world with your acts of kindness. Maya Angelou. In a world driven by the cold calculations of self-interest, the words "continue to be yourself" resonate like a warm underground spring flowing through the dry desert of the soul. Humans always stand between two opposing forces, the need to be accepted and the desire to be ourselves. And it is within that tension that kindness becomes a courageous choice, not a sign of weakness. Every act of kindness is a small spark. In the wind of indifference and selfishness, those sparks may flicker, but if persistent enough, they will spread and warm the dark corners that words cannot reach. Kindness does not make us weaker. On the contrary, it is the sign of an inner self that has overcome the fear of hurt and still dares to believe in the value of giving. What is truly remarkable is not grand gestures, but the persistence of small things. A compassionate look, a gentle word, a choice not to hurt others even when we could. Your value does not lie in being like someone else, but in having the courage not to lose yourself amid the chaos of life. And when you manage that, you are not just living, you are shining. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience, that is the ideal life. Mark Twain. Good friends are like honest mirrors. They reflect our true selves without judgment and serve as a mental immune system that helps us resist loneliness and doubt. Good books are conversations across time where we borrow the wisdom of generations to expand our own horizons. But above all, a clear conscience is the most solid foundation. It is the state where we don't need to run away from ourselves in the silence of the night. Good friends, good books, and a peaceful conscience. These are not luxuries, but spiritual anchors that help us stand firm amid life's changes. They don't make life glamorous, but they make it deep and meaningful. And perhaps that is the quietest yet most enduring definition of a life worth living. There is no passion in living an ordinary life when you settle for a life less than what you are capable of achieving. Nelson Mandela. People don't lose passion because of a lack of opportunities, but because they gradually compromise with a smaller version of themselves. When they accept living ordinarily, not because circumstances force them, but because of the comfort of the safe zone, passion doesn't disappear suddenly, but erodes day by day. Passion is not something innate that burns forever, but the vivid response of the mind when we dare to reach the highest limits of ourselves. It only truly ignites when each day becomes a conscious effort to take one more step toward our greater potential. Living below our potential often doesn't cause an immediate crisis. It comes quietly, through identical days, and the repeated feeling of, it's okay. Passion doesn't need to be sought outside. It is awakened through action, through refusing mediocrity, even when it feels comfortable. Only when we dare to live up to our potential does life truly gain temperature, warm, intense, and unforgettable. No matter who we are, no matter how we create ourselves, that is all we will have, and that, in its profound simplicity, is the meaning of life. Philip Appleman. In the end, we possess nothing but ourselves. No matter how many roles we wear, how many achievements we accumulate, or how many social standards we chase, all those outer layers can fall away with time. What remains is the core entity, the person we have quietly built through every choice, every thought, and every way we face the world and ourselves. We don't just are, we also become. Every action, no matter how small, is a chisel mark on our being, like a patient sculptor shaping a rough block of stone. The meaning of life does not lie in distant mysteries or glorious peaks, but in whether we dare to live truthfully with ourselves. Cherish every thought you nurture, every choice you make, because meaning is not something found at the end of the journey. It is created day by day in the way we live with ourselves. And perhaps it is that profound simplicity that is the hardest to achieve. Living a life where, when we look back, we can recognize ourselves not a borrowed version, but a true, complete, and regret-free being.